wonderful speaker coming in, extremely professional and world famous, just to come in just to visit our graduate school of technology. I also want to, before I do have 2 minutes. Lynn, you'll give me 2 minutes?
No, please.
Okay, thanks. I want to thank, to put together an event like this, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know I don't know if anybody did events here, but it takes a tremendous amount of time and resources and a lot of work to put together. And, yes. So I want to thank Robert, our director of Career Services, Robert Grossberg, for pulling this together. It's in months in planning. So thanks, Robert, for doing a great job tonight. And then we have this young lady over here who is hiding behind the camera, who did all the logistics. Anastasia, you want to take a bow? Great job, Anastasia. Thanks for all the hard work and to pull this event together. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to tell you that tonight's lecture or talk is a very important talk for every single person here, because soft skills are sometimes more important in getting a job than even your technical skills. Everybody here, by the way, is technical, and that we're teaching you to become technical. And we have a little bit of soft skills that we're teaching, in our classes. But it is essential that you have these type of skills. And Lynn is going to try to spend the rest of the next hour and a half to try to get across how important these soft skills is and how to acquire these soft skills. I know many students who have not gotten jobs, who are extremely technical, who just did not have the correct soft skills. I see this. We have a booming economy today. There are thousands of tech jobs, ladies and gentlemen. That's the good news. That's really good news. Everything's being lined up for you at a very good time. But without these little soft skills, it's possible that even with the high demand, you might not get a position. As I'm going to tell you a couple of times, I have one speech, and I keep on saying the same speech again and again, and this is a very important speech. That unfortunately or fortunately, but probably unfortunately, everybody here are going to have 8 to 12 different jobs in your career. Okay, that's the way it is. When I was your age, it was one job per career. That's it. But over the years that changed. Now everyone here has to live in a world from 8 to 12 jobs, maybe even more. More than 8 to 12 jobs. It could be even the new statistics are coming out of 15 people who are in elementary school. Then we have 15 to 20 jobs within their careers. And how do you prepare for a world that you're going to constantly be changing jobs after job after job? And the one thing that I have to tell you is that the way you're going to be doing it is only through friends and connections. That is, the people sitting here next to you is very important. People sitting to your right or left, maybe a manager one day, maybe have a higher position one day, maybe not. But those are the people who are going to be able to carry you from job to job. And I'll tell you a very quick story. I'm going to make a long story very short. I have a friend, Tommy, who has a son-in-law, and who used to go to his name was Mordechai, and Mordechai used to go to our school, and he moved to Florida. Well, to make a long story short, this young man lost his job and was sitting in a basement sending out resumes. And his father-in-law came over to me and said to me, you need to help me get my son-in-law a job. I said, what do you mean? To get him a job? He has very high technical skills. I know this young man, how can he not get a job? He says he can't get a job. He just can't get a job. So to make a long story short, he didn't have any I actually talked to him, and he had no connections. He had no friends. He had nothing. He never talked to his college buddies ever again. I asked him, did you talk to the people that used to work in this job? Because they closed down, there was 15 people that he worked with, and the company just folded. Did you talk to any of the 15 people you used to work with? No, I didn't talk to them. So he lost every connection, he had no connection. And I said, I went back to my friend Tommy, who's my age, and I said, you're in trouble, because Tommy was telling me that he has to pay, he needs his son-in-law to pay a job because he's paying the mortgage, he's paying electricity bills, he's paying everything, and he can't afford to keep on paying his job. So I said to him that, Tommy, to me, this young man is never going to, because he has zero connections in the whole world, and he never built any connections and built any friends, and he didn't know anybody, he's never, he's not going to get a job. So Tommy said to me, what am I going to do? I said, just like you reached out to me to get your son-in-law a job, you reach out to all of your friends and your extended friends, and you get on the phone and you start making phone calls until you get a hit. So he said, oh, do I really have to do that? I said, yeah, unless you want to keep on paying all these bills, you're going to have to do it. So guess what happens, guys? So he gets a job 1 week, and he listens to my advice. He's on the phone day and night, calls up every one of his friends that he ever knew, because he was very my friend Tom is an extremely social person, and he has good connections with people. And within a week, he found his son-in-law a job. Okay, all because he had friends, he had connections, and he knew people, and that's the name of the game for 8 to 12. For a world that you're going to have 8 to 12 jobs, you need those friends, you need some connections. These are the friends. Your friends are right here. The connections are right here. The teachers that are right here. You keep in contact with them. And these days it's easy. It's very, very easy with Facebook and
Instagram.
Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and LinkedIn, of course. LinkedIn, thank you. And with LinkedIn, ladies and gentlemen, it's easy. It's very, very easy to make friends and keep friends. So keep those friends. Make friends while you're here in a live school. Make those friends. I'll be telling you this again and again and again, because it's essential for survival. If you want to survive, keep your friends and keep them close. Okay. Without further ado, we're gonna.
Just a little bit of logistics. You all should have filled out a form when you came here, which was the sign-in form. Anybody who did not fill that one out? Good. You did not. Anastasia, I need one sign-in form. Okay, please. At the conclusion of the program, you will have a sign-out form, which I will give to you. Use the pens that we gave you. Please take notes during the presentation. Please ask questions. Learn an awful lot from it. And I hope to see you doing some practice interviewing with me, whereby you can get videoed. The dean just spoke to one of our students who said that if he had not had that experience, he wouldn't be in the job that he has today. So we do something very special for you. We video. You will learn from it. I hope I don't embarrass him, but if you have any questions about doing it, Boris will be happy to tell you. Sitting in the corner, he'll be happy to tell you how valuable that was for him. Okay? So without further ado, it's my pleasure and privilege to present to you Lynn Berger, who's going to be speaking to you about what it takes to land that job.
First of all, thank everyone. I want to thank you all for coming tonight. I want you to know that the administration here has been fabulous to me, which means that they will be very kind and supportive to you. And everything that they said tonight, I'm going to say again and again, okay? So, because it's all so important. All of you are each one's connections, each one's future, and this is a resource while you're at school that I really encourage you all to use. So thank you again for coming, and the format of this is going to be, I'm going to present some information and then I want to talk about it. I don't want you to wait till the end and be bored. I'd really like this to be a very interactive, question me, challenge me, We're gonna all participate, okay? All right, so I thought the best title of this presentation is Landing the Job You Want, the Do's and Don'ts. It's like, let's learn this as quickly as possible and as efficiently as possible. And there are certain ways to do things, and there's certain things that aren't looked upon as favorably in the job search. And my website is listed as well. Okay, so my goal for all of you is to enhance and enrich your job search by applying these techniques. Now, one thing that I do want to draw your attention to is that some of these things are going to be easier for you than others. Everyone brings natural abilities to the job search. We all do certain things better than others. Some people are better at speaking on the phone. Some people really enjoy email. I want you to work with your preferences, yet there are certain do's and don'ts, okay? But just try to understand what comes naturally to you in your job search. Well, I don't know what happened. Does anyone?
Just ask. Press escape.
See, as I just said, do what's natural to you. Technology, I need all of you to help me, okay? All right, so one thing that's never gone away is a resume. There are different formats now, they're more digital, they're read by keyword searches, but resumes have been around for a long time and they're not going anywhere, as far as I can see. Sometimes people do have video additions to resumes and attachments, but a resume is going to have to include certain information. Of course, your name, and a lot of people for contact information don't feel comfortable putting their address. I have to say I have mixed feelings about that. How many of you in this room have created a resume? How many of you in this room have your address on the resume? Does anyone here that doesn't have their address want to share with me why they didn't put their address? Yes.
I didn't put my address.
Okay, was there any reason or?
I'm willing to relocate. Anywhere.
Okay, so you want to relocate?
Yes.
Okay, so do they know, did you mention that anywhere in your?
No, but I didn't say like I'm in New York, so I'm looking for a job.
Okay. So that was done very intentionally?
Yeah.
Okay, but I do think that if you are looking locally, you really do need to let people know where you live. You don't have to have the specific address, but you should have the location. Because why lose out? I see someone else's hand about the address, yes?
It's just for privacy reasons. I have like the town and like New York that I'm in, but I've seen that sometimes if you use some of the like the job search applications, like they'll share out your resume without, even if you put it down as private, it still gets sent out.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, that's why, I'm not going to say you have to put 22 Smith Place. I'm okay with that. Yet I don't want you to totally go the way of not putting a location. Because if you're New York educated and you want a job in New York, why don't you put it on the resume? And I've seen a lot of people move away from that. So I think you might be hurting yourself. The other thing is, how many people in this room are on LinkedIn? Okay. Have you used LinkedIn? Has anyone used it? Yes.
I do a lot.
How do you use LinkedIn?
I put all of my courses that I take in LinkedIn. I ask for my professors and my colleagues for recommendation. I put all of my projects there, and I follow the people that I'm having connection with, and then also I follow the jobs that I like to work on that company.
Okay,
So
great.
It's my Facebook.
Oh, okay. Now it is. I mean, I by tonight, or maybe by the end of the week, I want everyone in this room to be on LinkedIn. And there are, yes.
I'd like to make a comment about Facebook, like Facebook. It's a professional site. and therefore there should be only work-related stuff, experience, work.
I know, I mean,
about what's in the
instead of
industry.
using Facebook that much, I use LinkedIn.
That's good. Just making a comment because I've seen people putting personal stuff which does not fit, and the reporters could be excluded as well. So you have to be.
No, you have to.
Not saying about you, but in general, you have to keep it professional.
Right. Now, is there a LinkedIn group of all of you students?
Yes.
There is? Who's in the LinkedIn group?
Well, Touro College has a LinkedIn group.
Okay,
Each school has a LinkedIn group with Touro, like Touro Graduate School of Technology, Touro
Okay.
Class, Touro Graduate School of Education. It's amazing. I mean,
Right.
we can belong to the group and have access to every professor and many, many students.
right. But how many students in here are in the group? Okay, well, I encourage you all to think about being in the group, because what happens is, when you're in the group, it's not even just the person's connections. So, your name is, do you mind? Yes.
It's Balthasar?
Okay, so you're not in the LinkedIn group now? No. Okay, so when you join the LinkedIn group, which hopefully after tonight you'll be encouraged to join, you get everyone else's contact information, and you get their second degree connection to their connections. So already you've expanded your networking. The number is, people say you need to have 125 connections, and then all of a sudden you have hundreds of thousands of connections. And this proves very, very valuable. Yes?
Also, Mr. Rosberg, highly recommend to link to him, his profile, the group, so when person does it, Mr. Rosberg will help individually to choose other groups as well, because he can refer from the LinkedIn to other
Yes.
groups and companies. So I would really recommend for everyone to link into Mr. Rosberg's account.
Right. Absolutely. It serves so many purposes. I can spend half of my presentation telling you LinkedIn success stories of people that have applied for a job, then went to their LinkedIn contacts, saw if they had a second degree connection first. Well, most likely it wouldn't be first if they didn't know, but it might be a first and second degree connection, contacted that person, and it really helped elevate their presence for the job, and they got the job. So one of the things regarding the resume is you should put your LinkedIn address on it. And for the people that have LinkedIn, do they have a picture on LinkedIn? Okay. Yeah, I recommend, it's not a beauty contest, yet I really recommend you put a picture. Because if you don't put a picture, someone might say, why not? I mean, other people have different opinions on this. My opinion is put a picture. Why not? Okay? Nice, professional, nothing. Keep it as professional as possible. I would clearly recommend that. And put it on your resume, because it becomes your second resume.
Lynn, I'm going to just add one thing, and that is, quite a number of HR directors have actually told me that when somebody applies for a job and somebody's interested in that applicant, that they go on LinkedIn to see whether the resume matches what you have on LinkedIn. Because it's a lot easier to put anything you want on paper as opposed to what you're putting out on the internet. And if you don't have a LinkedIn account, they begin to wonder, why don't you have one? Is this person really a professional? Is this person really searching for a job? That's why you're hearing it's extremely important to have a LinkedIn account. Keep it updated and use it.
Yes, absolutely. And you have to remember, I'm not going to age myself. However, I've been doing this work for a long time. LinkedIn didn't exist. You are all given this wonderful tool that can help you so much. Use it. It's not going to cost you anything, but it might cost you if you don't have it. So I definitely want you to go on LinkedIn, play around with LinkedIn. All of you are tech savvy. Within no time, you'll learn about LinkedIn. It's not going to, at first it might feel you might be a little clumsy, but spend a little time on it, it'll become second nature. Now, when you put experience on your resume, a lot of people, how many people here feel they have sufficient experience for a resume? Does anyone here feel a little and feels comfortable telling me that the resume, they feel they might not have sufficient experience, or is that why they haven't done a resume? Well, you know, even if you're in a class and you participate in a project, whatever it is that you've done, that's what you've done. And you need to highlight in your resume. And you really want to make sure that if you have to include some personal projects, that's okay. You're all relatively young. But you want to make sure there's something there that people can see and learn about you. And when you have a resume, you want to make sure, I mean, this might sound very basic, but you really want to use action words. You want people to see an action, and through your action there was some result. And try to be as specific as possible. And don't rely on spell check. If you have a resume, I want you to show it to someone. You all are very gifted and allowed here to share with Mr. Grossberg and other professors and teachers, and have your colleagues and your peers in school look at things. Don't be shy. The more eyes on something, the better it's going to be. So I highly, highly encourage, do not rely on spell check. And if something doesn't make sense to you, put it down and go back to it the next day and look at it. You'll see the errors. Okay, does anyone have any questions on the resume? You all feel comfortable about that? Okay, don't be shy. Yes?
What do you think about having multiple pages of resume? I'm talking about 2, 3, because usually it's one page is required, but at the same time we have significant years of experience, kind of
Right.
tough to fit.
Right, I don't think you should go over 2 pages. One way to get around that today is you can have links. If you feel that your resume is not showcasing some of your accomplishments, especially if you've done some technology projects or you've done some interesting work, you can have a link to it. So in essence, it's more than 2 pages, but it's not listing everything on the resume. If they're interested in it, they can see it. And those are very powerful resumes. If you have links, you have website addresses, that's the way to get around that. Okay, any other questions? Yes?
Oh, just quickly, in the modern resume, the new thing to add is the skills and expertise area, where you see in the job description what they're looking for skills and expertise. The ones that you have, list those keywords at the top so that it gets past the machine reader.
Right. Everyone, you know, there's so many formats to that. And the key is, yes, that is 100% correct. And also, you need to have the language and vocabulary to speak to your resume. So if you're putting skills on it, you want to be very, very well versed in how you can speak to those skills. I mean, I could say X, Y, Z, but if I don't have things to back it up, it doesn't mean anything. So make sure the skills, there's some reference to that in the resume. Okay, just don't cut and paste from someone else's resume. That looks good. I mean, cut and paste works sometimes, but not all the time. But that is definitely true. I want you all to be able to give me your 5 to 10 highest skills. Okay?
Hit the escape key.
Okay. All right, now, who knows what an elevator pitch is? Do you want to share before I share? Yeah.
It's basically how to explain yourself within, as if you're in an elevator ride, you only have the time period, as if you're in the elevator with someone, you just, as much information you can get to them about yourself.
Okay, that's fabulous. That's fabulous. Does anyone here have an elevator pitch that they want to share? All right, I want you all to think about this. Does everyone have a piece of paper or a way to write notes on their phone? Okay. All right, so if you were to introduce yourself to the person next to you, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to do that, I want you to include your name. Obviously, they know what school you go to, but I'd want you to include that. What you're studying, anything you're proud of about that credential, any activities, perhaps if you have your career focus right now, and any other meaningful experience. So let me give you an example. Does anyone want to share with me theirs before you work on this yourselves? Okay. All right, so if I was to say, if I walked into this room and no one knew who I was, I would say hi to the person next to me. I'm Lynn Berger. I'm a career counselor and coach. I work with individuals to help them gain focus and direction, understand themselves, and make appropriate choices. And also get them ready for the job search with resumes, interviewing, cover letters, and anything else that's required. Did people get a sense of who I am? Okay, so what I'd like you to do is to take a minute and to kind of play with what your elevator pitch is at this time. It's going to change, okay? It's not going to stay constant. But just think about how you would introduce yourself, and then I want you to introduce yourself to someone, even if you know them, okay? So I'll give you a minute to write all this down. Does anyone have any questions before they go? Or you don't have to write it down, you can think it. Give you guys one more minute.
While you're doing this, how many of you have actually had interviews? Did anybody ask or say to you, tell me something about yourself?
That's what this is.
I heard that's the one question that like people like don't know how to answer.
Well, and Mr. Grossberg is 100% correct. And furthermore, the things you want to tell them are the things also that are most related to the job.
Right.
So this can be definitely used for tell me about yourself, and then you want to be as focused and specific as possible. Okay? So you have 30 more seconds, then I'm going to ask for a volunteer.
And if we can, let's take a volunteer who's actually answered that question, who's done it.
Okay. Okay, is everyone done? Does anyone need more time? People spend weeks doing this, so this does not have to be perfect. But the goal is to be able to make it better, okay? So who wants to share? You're going to learn. The person that shares learns. Yes. Okay, do you want to come up here? Would you do that? so everyone can hear and see you?
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Okay, go.
Hello, my name is Shireen. I am a UX UI designer. I studied computer engineering 12 years ago and started to work as a web designer, graphic designer, UX UI designer for 12 years. I am currently working in Touro College. I'm teaching undergrad school, and I'm also a student ambassador. It's recent. And I'm the one who makes your mobile applications and websites and everything nice to look and also user-friendly.
That was fabulous. Was there anything that she said that you wanted to know more about, or you felt she left out? Did anyone see any gaps here? These are your toughest critics. So you understand who she is and what she does? Okay, fabulous. A+. Okay, all right. However, you don't have to come up, thank you. Okay, I'd like 2 more people. And you don't have to have it perfect, because that's why you're here, to make it better. Does anyone else come? Anyone brave?
I'll go.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Viktor Gorbach. I'm a Touro graduate student. I actually graduated by undergrad with Touro back in 2003, so now I'm back to community again studying. I have 18 years of experience in industry working with fintech and lately in retail business. My experience spanned across multiple areas with application development, web development, databases, as well as enterprise solutions. So I'm looking for the next steps, learning more, and sharing my knowledge with others.
Thank you. Thank you. Did anyone feel there was anything missing there that they would have liked to hear more about?
Anyone, my LinkedIn account, come on.
I think you did a very, very nice job. And you know what? Sometimes even in the elevator pitch, if you feel you're talking to someone and you want to talk more after that, you might want to say, would you like me to explain any of that in more detail? Because that also gives you the opportunity with that tell me about yourself question in the interview. It opens people up to learn more about you. Now I want one more person. Do I have one more person that will do this? Oh, please, come up. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello everybody, my name is Praveen. I have 7 years experience in product development of leather accessories, and I have my bachelor's is computer science and information technology, and have master's in fashion management. At present, I am a student of Touro College, where I wanted to learn more about web and multimedia design, which would add a plus value to my both careers, which is bachelor's and master's. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Did anyone want any more information from him? Did you feel comfortable? Okay. Okay, you did a very good job. And you also mentioned a lot of things, so maybe it's kind of a variation on an elevator pitch when you're speaking to someone, because you have a lot of different experiences. Say, is there any in particular you even want to hear more about? Okay, you can ask questions, especially in the interview. People sometimes feel they can't do that, but that's being very, very, I think you can do that, and I think people appreciate that. Because not everyone wants to hear about everything, but there's certain things they want to hear about.
Purposely, I have added little more extra so that they can ask me questions.
Right. Perfect. 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 So I think that if everyone can work on their elevator pitch, does anyone have any questions about one they were trying but they don't want to get up here and speak? Does everyone understand what it is and the value of having a way to talk about yourself briefly and succinctly? Okay. All right, so these are the things that I want you, thank you very, very much. And
Thank
thank everyone who came up, thank you. Everyone will have the opportunity, so, okay.
Before we go on to the next topic, is there anybody who did not fill in a sign-in sheet? We count the number of people in the room, we count the number of sign-in sheets. No match. This is your chance. Okay, thank you.
Okay, all right, here we go. Okay, now, the use of social media in a job search. Before I even get into this, has anyone had any experiences or have questions about social media and job search? You brought up,
Yeah, couple of things, and recently I was in a search which continued for a while. Unfortunately, market looks okay, but unfortunately there are a lot of dead positions. You can see them reappearing over and over again, even though employers come back to you saying we went with some other candidate, but then they didn't show up. But at the same time, you have to know which tools to use. It must be efficient, and you have to make sure that there are a lot of channels that actually get your information and then start spamming you. So personal LinkedIn is the best. I have 960 connections throughout my history of employment, and this works perfectly. So like someone mentioned that your network is the first stop. That's true. Because LinkedIn is good, resume is your passport. They don't know you. They don't know your ability. They need to understand what you can do, and you need to grab their attention basically. Once you're in, that's your second chance. But if not, unfortunately, the systems that big companies using is electronic scanning of resumes for the keywords. If they don't match, 80%, I believe, or 85, resume does not even get to the manager or HR. But I use Glassdoor, very powerful tool, great search capabilities, and you can create a profiles in an email. Then go in, find a position, see which company it is, instead of applying right there because some of the mutual third-party companies involved, go to the website, and then you can apply there. Monster, Dice, I mean, you name it.
okay, all right. And has anyone had any heard of situations where people used social media inappropriately or? All right, so one of the things that people need to be careful of, everything is a representation of who you are, okay? So even on the weekends, you really want to be careful, okay? Because nothing is sacred. Everyone can find out whatever they want, especially people in this room that are pretty savvy about technology. So you really want to keep your presence as, quote, clean as possible, okay? And LinkedIn came up tonight, and it really is a valuable tool that everyone needs to use. And if on, let's say, a social media site, Facebook, Instagram, whatever you do, Twitter, if you need to think, should I put that on my site, or should I post that? Don't do it. If you're questioning it, don't do it. There are stories of people that did things and it was a momentary situation and it came back to haunt them. So you're better to play it safe than sorry. Even if you don't have your Facebook and other social media addresses on your resume, it's not very hard to find anyone, okay? So I really want you to be very, very careful with that, okay? Now, on LinkedIn, there's so many groups. Is anyone familiar with the groups function on LinkedIn? Okay. So let's say that I want to get into marketing. I don't work in marketing now. And I try to join some marketing groups, and they accept me. Some groups are more accepting than others. There's discussions that happen. Then all of a sudden you get the name of everyone in the group, and you can contact these people. It's a fabulous way to build your network. All of you need to get into this school's group, and you should also try to get into as many industry-specific groups as you can. And people will see that. The more action you put into LinkedIn, the more action you get back. Okay? It's like, if you want people to call you, you have to call them. I mean, it really does work that way. Now, I would like you to join relevant groups, and if you can find a contact that can introduce you, even better. All of you know a lot of people, so I don't know who you know. Your next door neighbor could work in marketing. So try to make good introductions, okay? But join things as much as you can. It's really can prove incredibly valuable. And if you have something to add to the discussion, share it. Don't hold back. How many people here have done a Google search on themselves? Okay. You like what you see? Okay. 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 So LinkedIn. How many people after tonight are going to join LinkedIn? Did everyone have a profile? Before, everyone didn't raise their hand. Are there any questions about what you put on your LinkedIn profile? There's opportunity to put presentations. If you did a great presentation in class, you wrote a good article, you wrote a paper you want to share, you can upload all that stuff. You don't have to hold back if it's related to what you're going for. And how many people in this room know about professional associations? Do you want to share what a professional association is?
Oh, professional associations. I network with 3 or 4 professional associations of international educators. So I go to a monthly meeting of One to World, and I go to regional meetings of NAFSA, the Association of International Educators, and those 2 groups are how I got my last 2 jobs.
Right, right. And I didn't plant him here. You need to start becoming aware of professional associations in your area. And as a student, you can probably go to a meeting as a guest, because as a guest, they'll give you a reduced rate, and you can tell them you're a student. There's something called the Encyclopedia of Associations. And you could put in any field, and there's going to be an association of professionals, that group that applies to that career and occupation. And they have websites, they have meetings, you go, you start to meet people, and a lot of magic can happen there. I have a lot of stories of people that got jobs through professional associations, and one of the things that you need to do is do it early, and even if you get a great job that you love, still be active in the professional association. You need to, in today's world, as Mr. Grossberg said, you could have a lot of jobs. You're probably going to have a lot of jobs. So you always need to manage your career even when you are satisfied in the job you have. Just because you got a good job, continue to network. Maybe not at the level and pace that you did before, but you really do need to reach out and always stay in contact with people, because you never know what's next. And also, what's next could even be better. So it doesn't have to be in a point when you don't have a job. Maybe you choose to leave the job for a better job. So I can't emphasize that enough. Does anyone have any other questions about social media, LinkedIn, before we go on? Yes?
One comment I would like to make for coders, for programmers who actually would like to get as individual contributor writing code at the job, use GitHub or GitLab, post your projects, or communicate through that portal, because many employers are actually looking for active candidates and reaching out. So this is important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes?
Which companies do you suggest that we're looking for? Because there are so many recruiters, and I heard about Monster, but in your point of view, which one is more adequate for our
Well,
major?
The Indeed.com pulls together jobs from many resources. So that one is very, very helpful. You can put in job titles and geographic areas, and it pulls the jobs from all these different sources. So I do say that. I mean, there are industry-specific ways to find jobs, but for the general purpose, and Indeed is really good.
But I did that, and there is an avalanche of emails.
Right.
And I like avoided that because I cannot really focus and analyze all of them.
Okay, well, what you need to do is refine the title. If you're going to put something very, very big, you're going to get a lot of stuff. But if you know, like, there's 5 or 6 kind of job titles you want, you could have 5 or 6 different searches.
The research, yeah.
Yeah, you really need to refine, that's a great point. You want to refine the title, but then someone says to me, well, it's too specific. Well, then have 5 or 6 of the searches. No one's going to limit you.
I had the impression that I should avoid these recruiters, that they work as a cascade. You know, they are connected with so many another recruiters, and they just link your email address on the database. They keep sending you email all the time.
Well, the thing, a recruiter tends to be more helpful if you have some experience and you're very specific with what you're doing. But just for the sake of getting in touch with them and feel success is going to happen overnight is not exactly the best thing to do.
I think the problem and they shouldn't be a problem because in our resume we have keywords.
Right.
So I think these agents, they catch these keywords, they send you proposal that sometimes is not your focus.
That's not your what?
You don't intend to do.
So then, unfortunately, you're going to get some stuff that's not, just try to delete it and don't respond. However, if you keep your searches targeted, you'll get less of that noise.
There's also an option when you opening account or creating profile, an option if you okay with them working with third parties, and that's the stuff where they're sending the resume to someone else. Everyone's getting a cut from it. So you can disable it and say, no, I don't want to, just want to post profile. But personally, like I said, Glassdoor has been very helpful to do research on the company because it's rated by employees anonymously or someone who went for interview, and they also sometimes post in the question that were asked, as well as providing how was the experience with interviewers in that company. And I find it has been really helpful. And you can also, when you do a search, say, I would like to go to the company, it's rated 3.5 and up, or has this many people in the company as number of employees and locations, has been very helpful.
Right, and I think that's a great point. On all these tools out there, you can be inundated, but the better you filter out what you're looking for, like you said, a certain amount of people at a company, a certain job title, you'll get what you want. But that brings up the points. All of you have to get to a point to know what you're looking for. You really can't get where you want to go if you don't know where you're going. So the goal is first to be able to, through your studies, really understand what it is you're looking for. Now, you don't have to have one thing, but I'd rather you have a focused direction and 3 directions rather than a general vague, oh, I'll just do X, Y, Z. That's not effective. And it doesn't utilize the power of all these tools. So, if you finish your classes and you know what kind of job you want, but you think maybe it's between A, B, or C, have a few searches, but be specific. Okay? Any questions? Any comments before we go on? Okay, so let's say I'm the recruiter for XYZ company. I contact you through email. You want to get back to me. How do you think you should get back to me? Text, voicemail, or email? Okay, mimic the person, what they did. Pay very special attention to that. Has anyone texted recruiters or done any of that? Okay, I think you're all very smart. Okay, just be aware of the mode of communication that someone, and do that back. And also, something that people kind of sometimes don't pay attention to. How many of you listen to your voicemail messages? Okay. How many people don't listen to voicemail? Okay. No, I have a son, and he's in his 20s, and him and his friends, I say I left a voicemail. Well, that takes too much time to listen to the voicemail. I said, well, I left a voicemail for a reason. So I think a lot of people that are reaching out to you might leave voicemail messages, okay? Don't, pay attention, okay? Because that would be a pretty terrible thing if you missed an opportunity because you didn't play back your voicemail messages. All right? So get your message up, have your name on it. I know sometimes, most people have 917-222-2222. I think if you're going through job search, a name could be helpful. Yes?
Is it okay to constantly sending emails? You send an email to a recruiter,
Right.
and they didn't respond. Is it okay for you to keep sending email, or if you're gonna do that, wait until you update your resume, or what do you do? Is it okay?
Okay, so you contacted someone.
Is it okay to contact someone multiple times?
Okay, so this is my rule. Everyone has a different rule. I think you can contact someone 3 times. Then I think you stop. There was an HR director that I knew for a pretty big company. He said to me, if people don't contact him twice, he doesn't even bother calling them back. Because he wants to see that, which, not everyone's like that. But a lot of people are busy. And I think you can try 3 times. I wouldn't try 3 times in one day. But I would try 3 times over a period of time. Yes?
And if you do 3 times, would it be good to do it after you update your resume, or your portfolio?
You mean you've contacted them and you want to contact them again?
They say they didn't respond to you the first time,
Yes.
or they said they're going to call you back,
Oh, okay.
and you want to contact them. You did something new. You did a new project,
Perfect.
and you wanted to send them.
Share it.
project.
Yes.
Would that be okay?
Yes, that's perfect. I don't think, people are busy. And one of the things that's kind of hard to, it's a fact, and I'll tell it to all of you. If you're a recruiter, you're not the only person they're recruiting. So you're one of many, all right? And that's why it's a bit of a numbers game. But you can contact people. It's just don't do it, give them a little space. And also another thing that, a lot of people today don't speak on the telephone. How many people here text all the time to their friends and people and never talk on the phone? Okay, all right. So some people, like me, we didn't have text, okay? I text all the time, but I also like when people call me. So if I'm trying to get in touch with someone, let's say I'm trying to get in touch with an HR person, and I spoke to them briefly, they emailed me once, I emailed them twice. The 3rd time, maybe I'll try to call them, because it's a way to kind of stick out. I get 10 times more emails than I get phone calls. I love a phone call. So, sometimes you can mix it up that way. There's people that still like to talk on the telephone. I know for many people it's a foreign concept, but it's worth trying. It's like a good technique. If you feel you're not getting anywhere, you can always try and leave a nice message. And also make sure your voicemail has a nice message. Yes?
I just wanted to clarify, are you talking about like reaching out to recruiters if they reached out to you, or like, or maybe from his question, if he meant like contacting someone about a job post?
Right, yes, I was talking in context, good question. If you're trying to get in touch with someone and they're not getting back to you, is that correct?
Basically, like, the person, I think a little of both, but I also, like, for example, you go somewhere and, you send someone your resume,
Yes.
and they might say that, oh, I'll contact you like later in the future if something opens up.
Yes.
And, you give them, say, a couple of months or even weeks. Would it be okay for you to try to contact them again to see, what happened?
Well, you can contact him, I think your idea about getting new information is good. And also a different, as your question was, a different mode of communication.
No, well, for example, like, there's some people who will, like, I've been told by, like, someone I know on the street, for obviously, she told me that she'll hunt down the recruiter on, like, let's say there's a job post, she'll find out someone from that organization,
Right.
hunt them down, message them, email them, contact them, even though, like, it's come to the point now where people post up jobs and say, please do not
Right.
contact us.
Right. Well,
I was
yes.
here last spring, and we had like a recruiter that came to the campus.
Yeah,
And I emailed somebody, and they said, oh, if something opens up, I'll let you know about it. So, it was like a few months after. Then, I called the number, and the person was like, just send me an email. And then, I was trying to send the email, and to the same email address that I sent it to before, and it was like an error. I don't know if they had some kind of a way to block it, or I don't know what happened, but it's just like the same email that I contacted at first, and then the second time I did a phone call, but the email wasn't working anymore. And I
Okay.
couldn't find what
So what would I do? What I would do is I would go on LinkedIn. Okay? LinkedIn, you can look the person up. Perhaps they have their email. Perhaps they have an ability to send them a message or connect with them. Now, LinkedIn has something called premium. Does anyone know what premium is?
Yes.
Okay, does anyone have premium here?
I do.
Okay. So, have you used premium a lot?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So what premium is, it gives you access to send a lot more emails to people that you wouldn't have. Now, the problem with premium is there is a monthly fee. But they give you a free month. So when you're ripe in your job search, sometimes I tell people, join premium for a month. See how it goes. The thing about premium is you do need to cancel it after the month. You need to be good in technology to cancel it, I'll tell you that much. But for the month, you get access to be able to send a lot of emails. So if you want to contact someone that you see on a job listing, you're getting nowhere, you can try to contact them, see if they'll connect with you, or have the ability to send an email from having premium. So it's something that you can use, and it's very, very valuable. It can get expensive if you have a yearly membership, and they give you a free month, but then you have to pay for the whole year. So it can get a little tricky that way. Yet, I do think that when you're very ripe in your job search, joining it for a month could be helpful. Just cancel it, okay? Do we have any other questions? Yes?
I have a question.
Yes.
When you send a message and email premium to someone, is it good to their personal email or like the email that they have on, I don't know, because you didn't see the email address. It's just a message sending to them. So is it different from the message that you're sending in LinkedIn?
Well, if I send you a message on LinkedIn, I look up your name, and I have premium, and they'll send in mail. It comes up. I'll click send in mail. I send you a message. It comes up in their messaging of LinkedIn.
But it doesn't go to your personal email?
No,
No, they're using the internal
there's an internal. yeah.
account linked to your account. So you may have your own personal email, but they're not using it. They're using internal.
Except some people,
notification goes to your email that someone sent you in email.
And you go to your LinkedIn messages, and some people put their emails on LinkedIn, not that many anymore, but people used to put more email addresses, and sometimes I've been able to do it that way also. They'll have their own email on it. Yes?
What's the best way to find the appropriate recruiter in a short time if you want to like find a job as soon as possible?
Well, I don't want to...
Instead of posting your resume everywhere.
You know, one of the things is recruiters tend to be very industry specific. So if you don't have a lot of experience and you don't have like a very, very unique skill, it might not be as effective. You might be better off putting your name on job boards and doing Indeed searches and join groups. The fallacy is thinking that might be the easiest. It might not be. Yes?
Unless using a network. If someone you know in a group or work related has been hired recently and used recruiter, that would be the next step.
These are fabulous questions. Does anyone have any more? You know, yes.
I do. What's the preferable engine or tool to do checking background?
What's that?
What's the preference for checking background tool or engine?
Does anyone know the answer to that question?
You talking about background of the company or your background?
Yeah, personal.
Personal background. Talked about Google, right?
Yeah.
Go and Google yourself and then see what's going to come up. But actually, we had a class here in Touro called Effective Communication. The
But
first exercise was search yourself.
But recruiters they don't use Google. They use some.
Well, they use LinkedIn, but
They use multiple sources,
yeah.
I'm sure.
I mean, if I'm a recruiter and I can choose between you and you, okay? I'm gonna go on your social media. I mean, it takes me 5 seconds, right? I'll see what comes up. So you do want to Google yourself, see what comes up. Yeah.
Now, everything nowadays has a digital print. You say something, you post a picture, you post an article or something, your name is up. And Google is the most popular search engine, has connection to everything, so you will find it.
Does anyone else have another search engine? I'm just curious that they like better than Google? Yeah.
Well, for the job, the last job that I had, I searched it in website called
ZipRecruiter, yes.
Yeah, and every time that they saw my profile, they would send me an email
Yes.
like your profile, like your job application has been viewed.
Yes.
And after like there was one time I got an email that said you are on fire. Like your job application viewed 3 times, and only 7% of people get that. So, and like the day after, I got the call from that company, and I got a job actually.
Okay.
So I think that was very nice, and they had an application, so I used that.
Okay, so did everyone hear that? So you just put your resume on ZipRecruiter?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
And it's really quick to find a job
Yeah.
over there because it's really easy. The
Yeah.
process is really easy.
They have great commercials.
Correct.
No, I think I want you all to share what's helped you and what hasn't. Thank you for that. Thank you very, very much. Okay, so any other questions on this that we want to, everyone's going to spruce up their voicemail message. They're going to put their name on their voicemail. I like that. It adds a personal touch rather than just a number. Make sure your phone works if you don't talk on the phone a lot. I mean, these are basic things, but they're important. Okay? All right. Okay, so how many people here have been on a lot of interviews? Or been on interviews? Okay. Who wants to volunteer to answer some questions? How have your interviews been?
Mostly good, I'd say. Most of my interviews are telephonic interviews, so
Mhm.
I cannot work right now, so I'll be graduating in January, so I tell them that you guys have to wait.
Okay.
And I had 3 interviews yesterday, so I was off.
Oh, wow.
them offered me a job with equally less pay, so I'm thinking about it.
Wow, that's great. So when phone interviews are easy for you?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So in some ways, phone interviews are easier. Who would say phone interviews are easier? Who likes in person? Okay, so that's interesting. All right, a tip for phone interviewing. Stand up. Your voice projects better. Also, smile. People hear that. Sounds silly, but the positive of the phone interview is you can have your cheat sheet. Yes?
Can you even laugh on the phone? Like if there's something that's funny, like, you know, like you're both like said something that's funny together.
If it's together. You know, if you're laughing at them, maybe not.
Yeah, not like this, not at them, but you know, like with them more.
No, I know. Yeah, no, the more you connect, I mean, it's all about a relationship match. You know, that's, yeah, if you feel you're connecting, just, you know, you don't know these people that well, so, yes. We don't talk certain topics, and just keep it very professional.
I have a bad experience with the phone interview and
Yes.
with the personal interview. The phone I was using Bluetooth, and the Bluetooth battery finished.
Yeah,
And I got desperate,
Yeah.
and until I grabbed the phone,
yeah.
the line was cut.
Mm.
Another interview in another company, the secretary did a mistake. They put on my schedule from another supposed worker, another candidate, and was to connect to do like a conference meeting. When I connect, everybody was sit and looked to me with a weird face, big eyes. Say, who are you? Say, I'm Luis. Luis Paz. Oh, I'm sorry, we were expecting another person. I had to explain that the recruiter sent me this appointment. I answered the email, but some companies, it's no reply the email that they send. And I didn't see the email had returned. So, okay, it was a catastrophe. Okay, they fixed, I got another day appointment, but the environment changed. you
Right,
know?
right. Well, you know, those things are going to happen. Yet, how many people confirm the day before their interview? Yes, okay. You know, things happen, and times get kind of screwed up, and it's just the nature of everyone being inundated with so much material, so many times, so many appointments. You need to confirm everything. It shows diligence, it shows organization, it shows that you're on top of things, and then things that might still have happened, yet it does help to confirm. And at this point in your career, in your life, I would recommend that you confirm all your appointments. It just makes you look very professional, and it would avoid any kind of, it can help. If you say I'm confirming my interview tomorrow for 2:45, it's helpful, okay? I think everyone wants to do that. Yes?
And should you do that like maybe a few days before and not like the day before?
Well, I think that if I have an interview at ABC Company on Monday at 11, I'm going to confirm my appointment tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday.
Friday.
Okay, if it's Wednesday, maybe I'll do it Monday afternoon. Okay? But, you know, one of the things about confirming is if you do it 2 ahead, then it can get screwed up, you know.
So when I was thinking, if it's on Wednesday and you confirm Tuesday evening, they might not get the email.
Right.
That's fine.
Right. So give it 24 to 48 hours. Okay? all right? But do it, because it's also gonna help them look at you in a different way. It's so easy. Like, there's so many easy things you could do that can help you be more successful. Do all the easy ones. Things are hard enough, okay? So, who knows the 3 things they're looking for in an interview? Okay. If I say I'm interviewing someone, all right? I want them to help me with my business. There's 3 things I want to find out during this interview. One is that the person's going to be added value, okay? They're not going to be a drag. They're going to help me. I need someone that's helpful. You want to get across your added value. What do you have to offer them? Okay? I need a new web designer. I want to hear what they're going to do for me, how they're going to do it, what's going to make it terrific. I want to hear all the added value. Okay? I also want to hear a bit of enthusiasm. You do not need to dance on the chandelier yet. You do need to let people know you're interested, enthusiastic. Some people think, oh, I went on the interview, of course I know I'm interested. Well, everybody has a different kind of personality, and someone could be a little bit, not as sharing as much of their emotion, be a little flatter in that way, and just assume, well, they know I'm interested. I could be interviewing you, I don't know you're interested. Maybe you need to tell me, this is a job I'm really interested in. Thank you for interviewing me. And let them know, okay? Don't keep it a big, dark secret. Because sometimes people can't read other people. And it might be hard for some people, because some people are just more low-key and private. And I'm not suggesting you become this person that you're not. You could share it in a very nice way. Let them know. It's like first choice in college. Let them know, okay? And that whatever possible, let people know that you think you could fit in. Okay, so let's say I'm interviewing at a startup, all right? It's 7 people. A couple of jobs ago, or a summer job, I worked at a company with 7 people. Try to let them see that environment you could fit into. As much as you can share with your background that you will fit in, okay? So there's 3 things. I want to hear added value. I want to hear a bit of enthusiasm, and that you're going to fit in. Okay? So whatever question you're asked, you can kind of get these points across. There's ways in which to do that. Yes?
The how you going to help them question, isn't that a little bit harder for international students?
Well, it depends upon what the job is. There's responsibilities for every job, correct? When you go on interview. 1 or 2 of them, you need to find something that you can show them that you're going to be able to help them in some way or not.
Yeah, but it's still harder for international students.
Well, it depends what I need to, is it they're asking you to be efficient or be organized? That's pretty transferable across other things. Yes?
Just would like to add on that need to respect their time, and they're reading between the line as communication is progressing. And in a way, there are a lot of behavioral questions. So if they ask a question to explain how you handle one of the situation, remember to use bar or star method. That situation, task, action, result. So be specific, 2, 3, 4 sentences, and then ask if there's anything else I can answer. So it's better to keep it to reasonable amount of information produced, and then ask the question if you need to continue. This way, your time management, have a good time management, respecting their time, and as well as also organized, because you're allowing the space to communicate back and forth if needed.
Is that an answer? Are you thinking that maybe you don't have what they're looking for? Is that what you feel?
What I'm thinking is that they thinking that this person is an international student, so they need to do more in order to win them over, to say, because maybe if they're supposed to try to help them in the long term, if they want to be like a permanent and long term, say, worker, they might need some kind of help. And would they be like, oh, how can I help this person? What did this person do for my company? You know?
Well, I think that's the good point. The point is you need to step back before an interview, prepare, and they do preparation here, and you need to understand what transferable skills inherent in who you are they can see value in. Okay? Regardless if it's international or not. And one of the things, like one of the biggest mistakes people make is you have to remember they're hiring you to help them. You don't have to say, well, I'm looking to work at your company because it's a good place that I'm going to, grow. I mean, it's nice that you're growing, but that's, they're not your teacher, mentor, parents. They want to hear first what you're going to do for them rather than what they're going to do for you. And, we're all conditioned to tell people we want to grow and develop and stuff. That's really not the focus. And you want to be careful about that. And a lot of younger people that haven't worked, they think that it's all about them to learn and grow. And that's inherent in when you start the job. But to get the job, you really want to share what you can offer. Okay? Okay?
Excuse me, I have a question.
Yes.
So, what if it's like, what if you have interview with Google or Apple?
Yes.
What can you give to them?
Well, the point is they're going to have a very detailed job description.
Yeah, they have it, but it's like let's say they need a UX designer.
Right.
And the job description is we need someone to do the wireframe and mockup, blah, blah, blah. It's like the same job description as anybody else.
Right.
But what can you tell them that I can do this for you? What can you do for Apple?
Well, you got the interview. You're
Yeah.
telling me you got the interview. And the responsibilities you have experience doing.
Yes.
Okay. You share that with them?
Yeah, but it's like they ask you say you just have to tell them that what can you do for them. But all I can say to Apple is I like to learn from you.
But there's responsibilities for the job, correct?
Yeah, that is the same as any other company.
Right, but you need to let them see very specific job-related accomplishments.
Yeah, they already see the portfolio.
No, but you have to share that with them.
Like how?
If I'm looking for someone to design my website, I want to hear from them the websites they did, what they did, the job they did, how well they did it, what kinds of exposure they get. Don't put down, what you did before. They called you in for the interview. They want to hear about what you've done.
Yeah, but it's for what you did before, what
Right.
you did, but
Right.
what you're going to do for them, what is going to be.
Well, they're hiring you for a skill, correct? And you have the skill? You
Yeah.
need to share the skill.
Okay.
And, you could also say, I want to be part of Apple. I want to be on the cutting edge, but that's not your first answer. Yes.
Yeah, and don't be afraid about the person that you think has 3 years of experience above you, because Google has seen what you fit at that moment, and they want the people fitting right there. They don't want the person with three more years of experience right then, or they would have called them, because they don't want to pay them, frankly. So you're going to fit right there. Your profile fits what they want at the moment. So you actually have a strength because of that.
Right. Yeah, don't try not to be intimidating.
Very hard for me to find out what to
No, I mean, there's plenty of jobs where I'm overqualified in different admissions and recruiting because they're looking for someone who's fitting down the ladder. So that's a strength for you because they want you to fit into that niche in the ladder. They don't want you. So don't be afraid because you're going to have the advantage over the person who's overqualified for that position.
Perfect.
Can I add on?
Yes.
If you got an interview with Apple or Google or someone, congratulations, that's a great first step. They already selected you and your profile. So that's your opportunity now to do something else. The best thing I found that works is to get connected to them. Do research, look in their website, application, write anything that you personally would change and bring it on discussion. Like if you don't mind, here's what I see with my experience, I've done this thing, and I think if we modify the application or enhance to do this, this, and this, client would really benefit from it. Now you're connecting your skills to the ability of their product to be better.
So what if you cannot find, like, what if you find everything perfect?
Then
And
you,
you just
you
want to
discuss the
work
best tool or best functionality they have available on their application or website.
That's
Sure.
why they called you in, because you're a good fit. They want a good fit. Because you're looking at it as, wow. Maybe they see you as wow. It doesn't make sense to you?
No, it does, but I still don't know how to talk to them. I'm like, you know.
Well, I want you to get very specific as to what they're looking for and think of a past accomplishment related to that.
Okay.
Be very specific, as much as you can. And one thing that you said about, before you interview with someone, I don't think it's a great idea to ask them to link in with you. Be a little bit more laid back there until you kind of have some sort of connection, if you can. Yeah. Okay. So who wants to work on their interviewing skills? Who's going to volunteer? Am I going to have to close my eyes and go like that? Yes? Is someone over there? Please? Nobody wants to answer what are your greatest strengths? Does anyone want to answer what are your greatest weaknesses? Or does anyone want to tell me what they say their greatest weaknesses are? Okay, then what I'm going to do, because nobody wants to do this, I'm going to ask you to spend 2 minutes with the person next to you. Ask them what their greatest strengths are and what their greatest weaknesses are. Okay? Don't hate me, okay?
You can keep working if you're still working on it, but in the meantime, I'll just announce that this is being recorded, and you can see it on our Facebook page. So facebook.com/TouroGST. And feel free to follow us. Every Tuesday we send out Tip Tuesday on Facebook. The last one was about speaking clearly. And feel free to hashtag, repost us. What else do you do on social media? Check in at the event. Snip it, share it with your friends. But really follow us on Facebook, and we will start having some events to visit some creative UX, UI, web multimedia, information systems companies. So please follow us on Facebook so you can be the first to know about it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, who wants to volunteer? You tired? One person? All right, what do you think then you should say about your greatest strengths? Do you know, does everyone here have at least one strength that they could speak to? The way in which you find your strengths is to look at some of the things you like to do, that you do fairly well, and there's a strength there. And if you feel you don't have a strength, ask your friend. Okay? There's strengths. But you really want to step back and have about a few strengths you can speak to. Okay? They need to be actionable. They need to be specific. I can tell you that I am the most organized person, but if I give you an example of something I did that was highly organized, you need examples to back this up. I'm not going to embarrass anyone. However, I want you just to know that you need example. I could tell you that I skydive. I never skydived a day in my life. But if I skydive and I give you an example of where I skydived, and I could show you a video of it, it's different. Okay? So have something to back up your strengths. And the weakness question is a horrible question. And I think everyone has things they need to work on. Just don't mention a weakness in an interview that's going to be a weakness to getting the job. Think about something that you could skirt around that you're either working on, trying to develop, and give an example in that way as well. Is that clear? Does everyone get that? Okay. All right, the other thing is, at the end of the interview, when they ask for questions, people that went on interviews, do you have questions? Have you had questions? Always. Okay. One thing, you want to have questions, but don't just ask questions for questions' sake. Make sure the questions are real, legitimate, substantial, because if you're going to take someone's time, as you said, you want to respect their time, just don't ask 10 questions for the sake of asking 10 questions. You might want to say after 3 questions, do I have time for any more questions? Okay? Because a lot of times they say, ask a lot of questions, but if it's not relevant, maybe you want to be a little careful about that. Okay? All right? Any questions on interviewing? Okay, we're going to move ahead now. Okay. One thing that I heard for the introduction is that you are able to do video preparation for interviews here. That is the greatest thing that you can have available to you, and that you can get some feedback on that. There is nothing like preparing. Even if you prepare to the mirror in front of you, your bathroom mirror, you need to practice. You should always have a mock interview before the interview. So whether it's at school here, with a friend, with a professional, you really want to practice. Once you say something, you've said it. You're not in that interview saying, oh my God, I'm freezing up. You've already practiced. Please practice. Like you study for an exam, practice for your interview. And try to do it as much in real time. I have people come to my office, I make believe I'm the recruiter, and you sit down and you answer the question. Try to put yourself in the space that you're going to be going to visually, but really practice. There's nothing that's going to do better. And if you're comfortable with the person you're practicing, let them give you objective feedback. That's how you're gonna learn. Okay. Now, dress when networking and interviewing. Every field, there's a different dress code. However, you always want to dress a little bit up from what they're dressing, not overdo it. But you want to make sure, if you're going in on Friday and they're really, really casual, you're not going to go in with a business suit, but maybe you don't dress as casual as them. You can learn about this, you can find out what companies, the dress code. Don't go in with the business suit if it's very, very casual, yet don't go in with shorts and flip-flops either. Try to do your homework and your research there. And even if you're doing a networking meeting, to be prepared, to dress appropriately, why lose out on something like that? That's so silly. You work so hard for your studies and you want a good job. So why lose out on things that you could just maybe spend a few minutes and do a little research on? Okay? And if you get to the company and you feel a little uncomfortable because maybe you overdressed or underdressed, just kind of relax, but just try not to do anything too blatant. Yes?
I had an internship. It was at after school.
Yes.
And it was like a non-profit. It was at, yeah, so basically I was always dressed in like maybe like shirt, button-up shirts and pants and shoes and everything. And nobody else did it, ever. And I was consistently dressed that way.
But it was
But it didn't seem like they had a problem with it. They never said anything bad.
But-
The supervisor was like, I always dress nice.
See?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it made, you showed them respect, and they appreciated that. And I think that that can go a long way. Okay? I think it could be very helpful. Does anyone have any other questions about appropriate dress or networking? And even if it's informational, okay? Just be aware that you're being noticed. And help yourself, okay? Now we talked a bit about, getting in touch with people, but follow-up. As I told you before, most people are inundated with work, the recruiters, the people at the company. You need to follow up with them. I have so many follow-up success stories. Even in my own practice, things that I've followed up with that if I didn't follow up with, wouldn't have happened. And it's not that there's anything wrong on the other side, but people got busy and they appreciate this and a simple follow-up. I'm following up how the interview, is there any other information you need? It's your job to follow up. My 3-time rule, 3 times and then move on. But you need to follow up. It's very, very important. And it shows that you're on top of things. And a thank you note to everyone you meet within 48 hours. Now, most people can send an email. It's kind of old-fashioned, but then I heard it's coming back into fashion to write a little note. You can think about that. But don't text anyone. Write a nice email with a nice subject, thank you. And just, keep it short. You might want to mention something in the interview. You might want to emphasize something that was said. But make sure you do send that thank you note. Okay? Sometimes you get very busy afterwards and you forget. Don't forget. Once again, the email. And once again, you write things. I was writing a card to someone the other day. I read it afterwards. I said, that didn't really sound that great. Make sure you look at it, correct it, make sure the grammar sounds right. Sometimes I put a lot of stuff in draft folders. I'm very into draft folders. If I write you a note and I go back to it an hour or 2 later, you really have a fresh eye. It's always good to kind of even check yourself or have someone else look at your correspondence, just to make sure that it's okay. Okay? Why lose out on something that's relatively easy? Okay? Now, one of the things that we didn't really go into here is it can get a little discouraging. You're sending out resumes, you're trying to talk to people, you feel like you might be getting nowhere fast. You need to kind of have ways to kind of keep a daily log as to your progress send follow-ups, talk to other people. This can take time between the first contact and getting the position. Sometimes you have to reach out to a lot of people, and it can get a little old quickly. So you just need to be mindful of that and kind of pace yourself. And if you had a nice conversation with someone, keep a log of all the things you've done so that you begin to feel empowered. Because this is keeping yourself on target, and it's really keeping yourself motivated and psyched up. And I have the 3 Ps. Maintain a positive attitude. If you're feeling lousy about it one day, take a day off, but don't take a week off. Persistence through follow-up is key, and patience. This is a process that's very, very important to you, yet the people on the other side have a lot going on. So you have to be a little bit patient. And for some people, patience is easier than others. So remember those PPPs. Oh, there we go. All right, so any questions that anyone wants to ask to the group? And I'll be here for a few minutes if you want to ask some more personal questions. And we have some
Sign out papers.
Sign-out
Credit
papers.
for being here.
Oh, you get credit for being here. Thank you. And thank you all for coming, okay? Really, thank you. I hope you got one thing out of it and to use it and to take it to heart. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Everybody got one here? One more? Got it. Does it have anything on it, that one? Jim, you have any extras? I need one. Lynn, thank you so much.
Okay, and please feel free to go on our Facebook page and leave your comments for Lynn, and we'll respond to your comments. Feel free to share with your friends. Feel free to do whatever you do in social media channels, Pinterest, Instagram, LinkedIn. No, we'll respond, yes. So you can also watch the recording tomorrow. And after you fill out this form, please leave it with us. Do you have any questions?
No, if anyone has questions for me.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you.